Hey people, Dr. Kit the Bee Babette here. It's been a while since I did an Ask Me Anything segment. Sorry, life has been crazy. I just started a postdoc at University of Southern Queensland on canola pollination. So that's been keeping me busy, as well as training for my upcoming performance, The Birds and the Bees, which is a World Bee Day event held as part of Anywhere Festival Moreton Bay. And it's a circus science comedy. But let's get to our Ask Me Anything. So this question was asked to everyone on my Facebook group, The Buzz and Wild Bees. If you're not part of that group, definitely join it. It's where you get all your buzzy facts. You can post photos, you see beautiful photos. And on the topic of beautiful photos, a beautiful member, Jenny Thine, posted some photos of some Amygilla in her garden. Now, Jenny has clearly an amazing garden in Brisbane, and she's always finding some beautiful native bees and has recorded so many, and I love seeing her photos on my page. And a member in it Traders asked, where do the bees go in winter? Because she said these were some of the last Amygilla still out, and this is being recorded in May right now, so getting into winter. So where do bees go in winter? Well, most of them die. So what happens is, at least in many parts of Australia, bees are very seasonal. And also, sorry, the sound is my dog in the background. So bees are very seasonal. They're only active for a few months of the year, often. Bees, in fact, in terms of their lifespan, they only live a few weeks, but certain species, they can have activity seasons that last a number of generations, and some only have one generation. They're univoltine versus multivoltine. So most of our native bees are active in the spring and summer. That makes sense because the flowers, which bees absolutely depend upon, bloom during spring and summer. Bees are also ectotherms, so that means their activity levels are dependent upon the temperature of their environment, the ambient temperature. And so when it gets too cold, they will just be extremely sluggish and not be able to forage. So bees, when it comes to winter, it's not adaptive for them to stay active because lots of the flowers aren't in bloom, and they wouldn't be able to go and forage for enough food resources. So evolution has devised that many bees, the adults die over the winter, but during the spring and summer, they're super busy collecting nectar and pollen, and importantly, making babies. And so they create the nectar and pollen, food supplies, which we sometimes call bee bread, and they put it inside their nests. Some native bees will nest in little holes in wood created by wood-boring beetles, and you can replicate that with bee hotels. If you want to learn more about that, check out my book, Creating a Haven for Native Bees. Then other bees, they nest in the ground. And so this includes the Amygilla, which Jenny's photo was of. And they, again, create burrows in the ground, put nectar and pollen in their burrows, and then seal the nests off. Then the adults die, and the babies, as larvae, or sometimes as prepupae, they will diapause, which means they suspend their development over the colder months. Then when it gets warmer, they will resume development and emerge. Other bees have different types of life cycles. So those in deserts, they will diapause over the dry months, and they respond to things like relative humidity. So they can sense when the rains have come, which means the flowers are blooming, and then they'll emerge. There are so many things we still don't quite understand about what breaks the diapause of different species. In the US, they have this absolutely down packed for some species, Megachili rotundata, which they are able to rear. And they know exactly the right temperature regime, which involves changing it from one temperature to the other to get them into dormancy and break dormancy. For many of our native bees, we have no idea. There are some Amygdala nests that have been found by Dr. Terry Houston, where he's found the larvae are, 10 years old, still alive, but haven't emerged yet. So there is so much that we still have yet to learn. But yeah, for the majority of our native bees, they are not active over winter. Where they go, the next generation is in the nests. The adults are no longer here. This is also adapters so that there's no competition between adults and their larvae. And so, yeah, evolution has devised strategies to make things work. The issue is, though, that we are stuffing up some of these strategies with climate change. Greenhouse gas pollutions from transport, from livestock agriculture, from other forms of agriculture. And this means that temperatures are rising and the flowers often are blooming earlier, and so are bees. They're starting to emerge earlier, but the majority of studies have found that there's a mismatch between when the flowers are blooming and the bees are emerging. So we need to tackle and mitigate climate change so that it doesn't disrupt the synchronicity between the phenology of bees and their plants too much further. If you want to read more about that, I published a chapter in a book, an international book on bees in agriculture. You can read that through my Patreon, the Bee Babette. So thanks for your questions. If you have a question, DM me on my Instagram at @BeeBabette_performer, and remember to subscribe to my YouTube channel, the Bee Babette, for all buzzy bee info and videos.